Did my microphone mute 1 millisecond too early and you heard my final clear my voice before we get going? Hey, welcome everybody to the program tonight. Hey, big shout out, Victoria Demansky. Welcome to the program tonight. Going to be wonderful. Thank you. Just a couple of hellos here because we're going to get cooking here. Good evening, Bethel Life family, PG and Ukraine family. Mark Rimold was out west checking on things. He's back in PA. Harold and Lynn, how's the baseball going, Harold? Welcome, checking in from the great state of Virginia. Paul Kiss, our resident Canadian Pennsylvanian. Lynn, Mary Fireball, yes, we moved it to 9 o'clock at 9 o'clock at night to update our California folks. Just gives them a little bit more time because it would start at 5:30 for them. So we've moved it to 6 for those out west. Have quite a few watching. Welcome to Washington. I see you there. Virginia, West Virginia, California, Alabama, Louisiana, Florida, Nevada, Idaho. It's easier just to do it that way. So many of you are checking in. I want to give you that one there. Hello from the Demonskis. Welcome to you. And of course, there's Big Texas coming up in the house. So welcome to you. I want to get right to it tonight, folks. Every night we're going to be here, and we want to thank you for your responses. Thank you for everything that you are doing. We even have Mexico in the house. Welcome to Mexico. Child of God. We have South Dakota in the house. Love it. Thank you, guys. All right, let's get to it. Rostyslav, welcome back, my friend. Let's go here and say a big hello to you. Good morning. Say it again.
Thank you for having me again. It means that we didn't do such a mess last time.
Brother, it's an open invitation. Any day you want to be here and it works out with your schedule, we want people to know the truth. We want to share the truth, and we want to help. Knoxville, Tennessee, welcome to you being in the house. Brother, we're getting where we're reaching all over the place. So let's tell the story tonight. We're going to jump to it. Welcome. I always like to start with an update of kind of what happened today and what's going on around the country with different places. We're going to be talking about humanitarian aid tonight. We're going to be talking about the crisis in Kharkov. We're going to be talking about oil and economics. We're also going to look at something very close to the church tonight. Let's put a little bait out there for people to see, and that church would be Dawn of Life there in Khmelnytsky, Ukraine. So a lot of very interesting things. And the last time we were on here a few days ago, everybody did come back and they were messaging and go, man, I love him. I said, of course. Think of it as his humor is so perfect and he's in a war zone, but the cat joke and all this stuff, they were loving it. So, and it's 4 o'clock. And I said, yeah.
Any cats around today, yeah.
And I said, it's 4 o'clock in the morning for him there.
Yeah.
So anyway, Rostick, let's start with this. How are you? How is your family? And how is the church and the people of the church that are working so hard to serve? Let's start there tonight.
We experience the whole spectrum of warp psychology. It's like kind of experiencing the book on yourself. When one thing is to read about trauma psychology in the book or here as a course, or another thing is to go through it by yourself. And so I would say, we had a pendulum going from extreme emotions, first uprise and extreme, motivation and mobilization and anger and high emotions, And then, but you cannot stay on cortisol and adrenaline all the time.
Hmm.
It's just first reaction for you to run, but you cannot have it in your veins, in your blood all the time. So then it swinged, pendulum swing to another extreme, and in a week we started to experience, tiredness, and then even low emotions, and close to depression, or being down, or exhaustion. When you don't have strength, you don't have enough sleep, and we are exhausted because of what we do with receiving refugees. So we are really tired every day, but
Well,
now it's like kind of stabilized, and we have to cope, how to cope with war, how to cope with what we see, what we hear, what we experience with these people, because what we hear from them much more extreme, and so I understand it's much more difficult for them. Yeah, so we are in more stable emotional state right now. Church is doing good. We're at our maximum capacity, I would say, right now. When I spoke to you a week ago or so, we had about 70 people in the
hmm,
church in the night.
the
Now we
refugees,
have
yes.
200, yeah, 220 or 230 every night.
Yeah, I
And
think it was 2 nights ago I showed your video that you had posted just with the tour with all the beds on the
okay,
steps.
okay, yeah,
And
yes.
that's per night running 220, 230 refugees.
Yeah, it's our like churches. I come in the church, and first of all, during the day, and I am amazed. It looked like another church, and absolutely so many new faces. I mean, of volunteers and women ministers, because people are coming, and even people from different cities, Christians are coming and joining the church just to help, and they would take their families to Western Ukraine or even to Poland,
Hmm.
and then coming back and hanging on with us to help to do what we do, or even volunteers from the city. They're not Christians, so but they're there, and I see them with the name tags, and they're going around. So I'm thinking, who are you? But so many new faces ministering, and of course, 200 plus new faces every day, of people, and
So let me ask you two questions. Number one, per night or per day, just take a guess. I'm sure. I mean, you're a master administrator, so I'm sure you know. But how many volunteers is it taking to do that ministry every day? How many people are serving daily?
at least 20 during the daytime and 12 during the nighttime should be there on the ground, just being there because of the curfew time. You cannot move around after 9 p.m.
Right.
So people would come at 5 p.m. and stay until 8 a.m. And night watch is the most difficult one, because people are starting to get in. They're driving all day, and they're trying to get as far as they can. So they're trying to arrive. Started to arrive, but after 5 6 p.m. If they come by car.
Now,
Mhm.
second question: where are these people going when they leave you?
uh, they're going west, and part of them are staying in the western Ukraine, Transcarpathian region,
Mm-hmm.
and which is enormously overfilled right now. It's over 500,000 people, moved to that small area,
Let me do
and
this. Just keep talking.
yeah, and
Equal that.
a lot of them, are aiming to go abroad
Mm-hmm.
to Eastern Europe. Poland
So
has over 1 million Ukrainians already.
yes, I've
It's
been keeping updated with that with the people. each night, and the nations that are being so generous. Poland came out with such a wonderful plan from their prime minister, up to 3 years, services, jobs. So what you're saying is people are leaving you and heading Lvov, Uzhgorod, Ivano-Frankivsk regions in the Carpathians, and then from
Yes,
there
many
heading
of
in
them. Yeah,
Poland.
many of them go. Many of them go straight to the borderline.
Okay,
And
straight to the
they try
borderline.
to yeah, and spending several days in the line, up to 50 kilometers of cars, and like 30 miles consisting of cars, or trying to cross like pedestrians. That is also many hours. And so they have to walk a long distance and then to stay in line and cross. Yeah, we have people from the church living every day. Women, children. I
Your
hear that.
parishioners, members of Dawn of Life, heading
Yeah.
heading to
Hmm.
safety, and
Hmm.
understandable. You know, it is getting closer.
Hmm.
And we'll talk more about that in a little while. But here's a map, Rustic, that I like to show, and I
Hmm.
use other maps also. But it's just showing, a lot of where the battles are taking place. Ukraine is winning a lot of battles. Russia is winning some battles.
Correct.
It is a war. It is not an invasion. Um, this is a full-fledged war. So down in the south, of course, can I'm keeping on top of it. I was rolling all day
Hmm.
today, but what is the situation down here with Mariupol? We know it's been a, a human tragedy with those
Yeah.
that want to be refugees that are trapped. For example, today, um, some people were able to leave. What is it? Sumska Oblast.
Sumin.
Yes,
Yeah.
able to leave
Sumin. Yep.
Sumy. Some people were able to leave Irpin. I showed some video of that last night. Very touching video.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
actually talked to Zhenya earlier tonight, and he had some people, as I'm sure you do, from Irpin, and I spoke with them. But Mariupol and Kharkov right now. What do you
Hmm.
know about Mariupol?
We have soldier. He is officer, bodyguard. So he's there right now, and he was supposed to move there right before the war, and he just working trip, and so he went there, and then everything started. So he's there right in the middle. And so we had him on and off. I mean, connection wise. So, but he's still alive, and although it's quite hard, and the city itself, and we had a family from Mariupol came to sleep in one of our facilities 2 nights ago. So they say that the city almost does not exist. It's just a plate, fired and bombed all the time. So people are
Nonstop.
staying nonstop, and people are staying underground, just almost not going. And because of that, and because many people were not ready, properly, they don't have enough water, and they don't have coming out of food, and no connection electricity. So actually, they're destroying it. We're gonna rebuild it completely. The city. It
Sure.
is destroyed. Yeah,
Mariupol's
and
destroyed.
people cannot leave. I mean, the area or war zone, because of the lawlessness of Russians.
Hmm.
Every time they try to establish a corridor, and the
They're fired
peaceful,
upon.
uh, yeah, and so they've been attacked. Yeah,
Yeah,
so.
I even had some stuff sent me to me late this afternoon of Rostic, probably a dozen examples in Kharkov, in Mariupol, in uh, Sumy.
Hmm.
where families were leaving, and literally, and Kiev Oblast,
Yes.
literally grandpas and grandmas in their Moskvich or Zaporozhye or older car, and they're
Yeah.
just
Shot.
obliterated,
Yeah.
shot.
Yes. Yeah.
It's really
I
happening.
just, yeah,
I
yeah,
couldn't show
yeah.
the pictures because the bodies were still in the cars, so I
Yes.
will not show that. But it's
Yeah.
happening.
Yes. I also watched, this Lanos, it's, small car, and it stopped on the
Yes.
stop sign, and, machine was passing by, just shot them, uh, just annihilated them. Uh, yeah. So what's the word? Perfidy or what? Or, what's the word for it? Perfidy?
Perfidy.
Perfidy.
You're
You know this
teaching
word?
everybody in the United States right now a new word in English.
Yeah.
What does that
Yeah, or
mean?
treachery, yeah, or treachery, treachery,
Treacherous. Yes.
yeah, treachery, treacherous. Yes, when
Yes.
people promise say something and then you do it, but they just stab you in the back, and peaceful people were leaving, and somebody would shot them with grenade, and the family with their luggage going in the street and laying on the ground, dead, and mom and the kid, just civilians, and it's so heartbreaking to see that, and I don't know how those people think, and I don't know how they think when they bomb the civilian houses, and they call it strategic bombing, and but okay, they can say they missed it from the plane, but how you can call it when you shoot civilians? And we had a meeting and common prayer or united prayer of denominations, different denominations yesterday, and I was told that Orthodox priests shared that they just shut down the Orthodox priest at the blog post when they found that he was a Ukrainian Orthodox church. They just immediately shut him down. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
because of hatred. Yeah,
and the tragedy is, and I know you know this, but the message is getting out there more when I start getting hate messages. So I really enjoy receiving the hate messages. Please bring them on. Um, Pretty much every night, because the stream is growing, and we're doing everything that we can do to support. I have to deal with the people afterwards that tell me everything's a lie, all the video is old, everything is fake. That is why 24/7 I'm working on this, and every night I'm going to be telling the truth from somebody sitting in the US who's got such deep relationships there to help the world know the truth. And I know that must be
yeah,
disheartening when you're sitting there, and you hear what's going on, in the conversations around the world. It's a tragedy. There's a question
yeah.
that came in. I'm gonna put it on the screen for you. How do refugees learn about Dawn of Life, or how do they know to come there? How do they know where to go?
Like in at the start of the war in 2014 and 15, we knew that we will have refugees, and we had a lot of them and staying in our houses 8 years ago. But we focused and concentrated on Christians from our churches, from our union. So now again, we just opened up for the churches that were calling us, but immediately we found out that the need was much greater or than on just Christians. So we registered with our local headquarters, and we said we have a hostel for refugees, and we have good relationships with our city authorities. So we checked in with them, and also there is a national website that was made up very quickly, and which is very good help to people trying to leave or trying to help. So just two buttons, main buttons there. I need to find a lodging, and another one, I want I to provide the lodging. So it's, you can refuge UA, you can call it
Hmm.
refuge.ua or prehistoric. So now we're registered there. So most of the people are calling us, are calling from that website. And yes, so about 80% are calling from that website. But also during the day, we are having a lot of calls from our local headquarters, and they see people coming from the trains during the night, especially. So as after midnight or 10, 11, we starting to have hot time, and
Hmm.
they're calling us, can you receive 18 people, can you receive 35, can you receive 25, because they don't have place where to put them, and they have to sleep at the train station. So it's curfew time. So but still, if we say yes, they escort them to us by bus with a police car, and so forth. Yeah. So
Coming in from Canada, God bless the ones that are suffering. God bless Ukraine, and God bless you, PG. So, it's just we're spreading the truth, Rostick, and the love's it's there, and
yeah,
we're not going to
if
stop.
anybody have any doubts of what, or or thinking it's fake, just come over and stay with us one day, you know and sit down and just listen to those people who are passing
Correct.
through us, and all those fairy tales they will tell you, about shelling and staying in a shelter for underground for 6 days with their kids. We just had family who came with a 8-year-old boy. He is scared to come into facility, to come into the room, because he spent 6 days in the locked underground, and wouldn't be able to get out because of the bombing. From Kharkiv, we have a lot of people from Kharkiv right now,
The
and
psychological
he's
effect is devastating. All right.
yeah,
So, we were talking before the program. Um, Talk to me about Kharkov.
yeah. People are getting to escape by trains and by cars, slowly but surely. And if at the first during the first week we received people just evacuating from Kiev or from Pavlograd, Kramatorsk,
Hmm.
Berdyansk, those areas. But then when Kiev and Kharkiv, they were locked and extremely hardly shelled. Now we are receiving people who spent days in the underground, and they went through this hard time, and they're different. They're very different. Their condition, psyche, and the ability to speak and to talk, communicate. So we are adjusting all the time how we can minister to them, how we can reach out to them, and they need spiritual and psychological help. And people have to leave. I don't know if you have a picture of a Kharkiv train station.
I did. I showed
Um,
it last night,
it
um,
was
but I can add
and
it. Hang on.
yes,
Um,
I might have it on my phone,
I've
and
got it, brother.
yeah, it's people are trying to
There.
leave. Yes, yeah, right there. Yeah, so and all those people are trying to get on that one train. You've got to understand, they're running for their lives. So people are standing for 20, 30, 40 hours in a train, just standing, and you jammed in the wagons, no tickets, of course, and
Right.
you cannot get to the toilet because of the jam, and you cannot get on a train, with all your stuff, because it's too many people. So people, train station in Kharkiv, train station in Kiev, are filled with luggage. People are dropping their stuff and just leaving with small bag or backpack, and filled with the cages with locked in animals, and dogs, and pets. It's terrible. It's terrible.
You have a
But and they
question. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Mhm. And they come in that condition, and sometimes without any basic things, because if they come by train, if they come by cars, they can have animals
Sure.
and luggage with them, but by train it's terrible. Yeah.
You have a question coming in from Longview, Washington. Shirley Phelps, dear friend of yours. How is
Yes.
Sveta and where is Sveta?
Sveta is successfully in the bed, and
She's sleeping.
yes, she's
She's
asleep.
still there
Yeah, and
serving along your side.
yes, she is with me, as well as three of our kids. They're still with me, and right now Daniel is in church on duty on night watch,
Good.
and into the in Thursday morning I am going to be there in 25. Watch there, and Morris, our son-in-law, future son-in-law,
Hmm.
he will be with me, and Christina, and and Mark come with us all. Yeah, so it is okay, and she's helping, yeah, with children. She's a children director in the church right now.
Yes.
She's doing a great job. So she is helping with kids who are coming, to church, helping to serve them as well.
So, talking about the church, let's go ahead and go here. Um, Russia came out, it was either yesterday or the night before, but recently saying that any, you know, defense places or things that have to do with military, they just came out and said that they are all targets. Now, that poses an interesting situation for Dawn of Life if this war continues westward. I'm going to zoom in and show people. Um, Folks, this is Ukraine. I'm using Google Earth here over on a different computer. I'm going to zoom in and going to go to Khmelnytsky. We're going to zoom into the city of Khmelnytsky. I hope I'm not making you sick. I'm going to come down to the southwest side of Khmelnytsky. And in fact, if you will look in the middle of the screen right now, and you see this big city here, but you see that ginormous building that is in the middle of the screen, that is what we're talking about here, this section of territory. And I am right now in the middle of the screen is Dawn of Life Church. It is the diamond-shaped building. You can see the street. It's kind of in the shade a little bit, but you see it there, Dawn of Life. But Dawn of Life is connected to what used to be the Novatar,
Yeah,
but
and still,
it's still no. Okay, so the church. Just tell the folks the church is a beautiful, large, wonderful facility, but it is connected to this factory system here. So
it used to be the club for this factory, and every factory would have a club. It's a communist thing, to have to gather people, to give them politics, and show them some, singing and creativity. But so we bought it from the factory. Actually, we purchased that building, but it's connected to the factory, and the factory is actually part of a Ukrainian defense Ministry of Defense. Belongs to the Ministry of Defense, because it produces some things that are used in the military aircrafts, and it used to do it for years. Then after Soviet Union fell down, it started to decrease and kind of deteriorate. It used to have 15,000 people working there. It was a
it's
huge, like a
huge.
city. It's a city, and but then it just was left like with several thousand, and it was selling everything. That's when we bought the building. But then when the war started in 14, it started to revive again because of war, and
Right.
gain power and so forth. So I don't know, and even if I would, I wouldn't tell you. But do they produce anything for the army right now? But definitely it is a target point for. And Putin, they said that they will be attacking the defense system factories and plants, which they did. They were bombarded, tank repair factory in Zhytomyr, and they trying to hit infrastructure systems that supporting or providing for the army. Yeah, so which places us right. If you have a bull's eye, it's in 10,
Yes.
being 10, so we are being 9. Yeah. So to
The
speak.
other thing, listen, if the war keeps coming westward, I mean, yes, these have been stated to be targets, but the fact is, in most locations, it's indiscriminate bombing and indiscriminate attacking. So, of course, this becomes a major. The other thing that's, yes, I know this city. Just below that, so straight, basically south, is the Khmelnytsky airport. So, as you know, airports have been attacked all throughout Ukraine. And just 2 days ago, we were talking about Vinnytsia. I showed you video. I told you guys on the broadcast how close that is to Khmelnytsky. It's the next region over. For those of you that do not understand when we say regions and oblast, basically in a nutshell, you have the nation of Ukraine, but then is there 24? Used to be
22, I think.
22 oblasts. Just for our thought process, it would be like a state. One state joining the next state, joining the next state.
County, maybe.
County, joining the next
County,
county, joining the next county. Somehow, that's how you need to think about it when we talk about these regional centers, these regional cities that are the centers of these oblasts, and Khmelnytsky being a very vital, important place. And of course, in the Khmelnytsky Oblast as well is one of the 4 nuclear power plants that are throughout Ukraine. So, folks, we need to continue to pray and support Khmelnytsky. It's the greatest city in the world, period. And I love it. So, let's see here. Just a message coming in from YouTube. I couldn't imagine being underground with kids, especially young ones, for 6 days. God bless the ones who had to do that. Rostik, I want to click through a couple of things with you. And let's go here. So today we know that the United States finally banned Russian imports. We've been talking about that.
Good.
It is good.
Yes, absolutely.
We were taking in 3% of our oil supply from Russia. That's banned. Britain is phasing out. The EU is phasing out. And you say, well, why can't they just stop immediately? There's such an interconnection with fuel that comes from Russia. And it's not as easy as just saying no fuel. This is why I put the word there, dependence. Nations, it's a challenge, but when you are dependent on another nation, it's not always easy as you think it is to make an adjustment, especially in many of these small European nations. But Rostik, we were talking earlier, and the text you sent me, just to remind people of how not to lose your soul during wartime was one of the things that you wanted to discuss tonight. I think this is a good place for it because our dependence must stay upon the Lord. Our dependence must stay upon the things of God. But of course, it's so brutally difficult in a war zone when you're hearing the stories, when you're serving, when you're ministering, when you want to protect your homeland. I mean, I couldn't imagine. Rostik, I would be protecting my homeland as well. So, you want to speak to that a little bit about not losing your soul um, for believers and Christians and those who are struggling? It's a psychological catastrophe right now in
Yeah,
Ukraine.
definitely. Yeah. We have dual citizenship. We have earthly citizenship, where we're part of our society and our state, our nation, and we have heavenly citizenship, and we know that our citizenship is in heaven. Philippians 3 says,
Hmm.
but there are several extremes in Christianity. I mean, when people just being complete pacifists, and you just have to have no army and just go completely surrender. And if somebody hits you in one cheek, turn another one to him. But it's Jesus was speaking on a personal level, not on a national level. So I have to defend my loved ones, and
Hmm.
it's also expression of love. And so Ukrainians had to learn a new way, because being a part of the Soviet Union was imperialist countries that was taking over territories. So uh, Christians were opposing that, of course, and they were not willing to go to the army service. I was a part of Red Army, and I started in 1990 when the Soviet Union still existed, and I left it when in '92 when it fell apart. So Christians in Ukraine had to learn how to deal with the army service, the military service, and the patriotism. And they would reject protecting their, homeland, because it was USSR, which was imperialist. But now, in nowadays, we have to. We are not offending; we are defending,
Hmm.
and while doing that, we are being attacked. You have high emotions. You see cruelty, you see injustice, you see this treachery, when they're coming in and they just bombarding your cities and destroying and killing civilians, and you're starting to hate them, and you're starting to rejoice over seeing many Russians killed, and so forth. And if you're not cautious, you can get trapped into those emotions and the thinking and the anger and the hatred, and your heart, and also unforgiveness and so forth. But we've got to remain the salt and the light during these times. And that's when Jesus experienced being a refugee. Jesus experienced
Hmm.
living under occupation. Jesus experienced being among hurting people, and he taught us how to live through the end time events. We are not able to escape them, we have through them. And he said, "Is those things supposed to be so? But the one who will preserve until the end, he will be
Hmm.
saved," he
The
said.
one that
So
will
we have
endure. Yep.
endure. Yes, we
Hmm.
have to endure, and endure properly. So you've got to learn how to remain Christian in these conditions. So that's what we're getting through right now. We are learning. And we are saving our souls. And
Yes.
like we have 2 Zoom calls every day with the church, in the morning and in the evening. And last morning, as we were praying, and I said, "Okay, anybody has personal needs?" And one sister starts sobbing, just crying. I can't hold. I can't have it anymore. And she's serving in the church in the kitchen, team,
Hmm.
with the food, and she sees those people, and and she's involved, and she's emotional. So we've got to let God to serve us, and to deal with our souls, if we want to remain salt and light to the others.
The
And
level of
it's not easy
stress
task.
is high. It's and
Extremely, yeah. And you've got to, and you find yourself in a point when you can't help yourself, and you've got to allow God to deal with you, and you have to. also control the amount of time you spend in the news, and
Mhm.
you got to be connected to the wine, and allow Holy Spirit to minister to your soul. That's
Amen.
vital. It's not just an option,
It's vital.
once a week. It's vital nowadays. Yeah.
Hmm. Child of God, they're about 2 miles apart, as the crow flies. Coming in from Canada, Rostick, how about this question? Do you see a lot of people losing their beliefs in their religion?
On the contrary,
Oh,
we nowadays we have. Uh, I would say 95, 97% of people who are coming through our church are unbelievers, unsaved.
the
And
refugees.
yes, refugees. So we
Hmm.
set up a table in the dining room, set up a table in a sleeping chamber with a lot of spiritual literature, and we just assign you can. It's free for you to take, and if you need a prayer and psychological support, here's a hotline, and we have sister online. On the telephone all the time. And also we organized we are encouraging our cell group leaders to be around people and just expressing comfort and love, and just listen to them, and pray for them, because we are church, we're not just Red Cross, we are church, we've got to give them something eternal. And because their world just crumbled down, they lost everything, and the house they lived in, all their possessions, and the job, and they left everything behind, and it's destroyed, and they don't know what's in front of them, so they are lost. You can just it's enormous, and they are completely in the air. So when you talk to them about something stable, about something that gives them stability, and
Hmm.
even today we had one journalist from Belgium. She came in, was photographer, and that's what I shared with her. That we as a church, we have special assignment during this time, and that's where people are stretching to God and very much open to the Lord, for the Lord. Yeah, and you
Praise the Lord.
suggest to them, and you talk to them about eternal things, and talk to God. He loves you. Not Don't blame God in everything. There is a Satan, but God is your Father, and He has a good plan for you, and He's in your future, although you don't know your tomorrow, but He does. So talk to Him, and He will lead you, step by step. Those things give people a sense of hope and comfort.
Because the reality is that's the hope we have right now, plus love and being the salt and light and being the example and caring. But in reality, as you're saying, especially in some of these cities like Kharkov and Mariupol, there's nothing to go back to. It's got to be rebuilt. it's
Absolutely.
it's gone,
Completely. Yeah,
destroyed.
it is.
So it is
Yeah.
a big challenge. I want to click through a couple things with you, Rostick, and
Mhm.
would just get a comment. Um, let's go to. I got too many buttons here. Let's go to that one. No, I'm already on that one. Let's go to that one. So we talked about the oil a little bit. I want to today. Vladimir Zelensky, your president, spoke to the House of Commons in Great
Mhm.
Britain, and he once again had a Winston Churchill moment, um, where he made the statement and he quoted Winston Churchill that Ukraine was not going to give up. In fact, let me get to that slide.
Yep. Yep.
I've
Hmm.
I've got it here. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has given an unprecedented address to the United Kingdom MPs in the House of Commons. He referenced Winston Churchill saying, "We will fight in the forest, in the fields, on the shores, in the streets." As a Ukrainian man, as a guy that has a plethora of experience in education, that experience growing up during the time of the Soviet Union, maybe people didn't catch what you said, but I'll repeat it, which I already knew. You served in the Red Army before the fall of the Soviet Union. You have the experience. You've been there, through the Orange Revolution. You've been there through the invasion in the eastern region where even you and Jania were down there serving together as chaplains and the whole in war zones. I will not tell the story of what happened to you in Donetsk, but you've experienced the realities of war, and this is to epic proportions now. So here's the question. With all of that, is Ukraine going to give up?
Are you kidding me?
No, but
you know,
it's one thing for me to say it. It's one thing for me to say it, knowing you guys so personally for so long, and nobody understands Ukrainian people. The culture, the mindsets, the character, the intestinal fortitude. I know the answer, but it's nice for a Ukrainian to say it, not an American.
We don't have, you know, First Amendment, but people who do have weapons, you know, but not in such, you know, amount as U.S. guys. But they made a law very recently, very quickly when the war started, that allows civilians to have weapons, and you know, we have hunting weapons and so forth. But people are going to our military recruit places like crazy. People are being sent home, not just hiding from military service, but you know, they are told, we don't need you right now. Too many requests, too many people applying. Just stay there. We will let you know. And we have so many big, I mean, self defense and, you know, city defense organizations. And we have guys from our church, Vitaly Pevnev, he's one part of one, and the people are trained, and we have 4,000 Molotov cocktails prepared for those guys. Come in, we'll let you drink it, you know, let you have it. Just they will be shot at from every window and from every bush. So, but they will not get in here, because they are already exhausted. They used 95% of their troops already, so they wiped out. And we are behind you. We are behind you. You are on our ground. So your fuel, cars, you know, we can blow up, and you drain here.
The skies are so important and need to be closed. Just my opinion.
Yes.
Because just close the skies. And
if you don't have enough guts to close the sky because you're afraid to be attacked, like in Europe, just give us some jets, you know, and we'll do it ourselves. Just you know what? Russia is claiming to be second power in the world, and right now we're kicking its butt. So if we are kicking butt of the second power in the world, then who are we? We are first power in the world. Come on.
Folks, if you wanted the truth, you need to be in here with us. It's coming direct from Ukraine.
It's easy math, you know.
It is. And
we're finding interesting facts about NATO and EU. Yeah. But and our president, you know, did it great. You know, he said it very openly. But if I don't want to offend, you know, any politics, but if you're scared,
I smash it.
Yeah, if you're scared about your blessed assurance, you know, let us protect it, you know, but give us some more serious stuff to do it. Yeah,
correct. That's exactly right. And you know, Rosty, you've been on here now with me, maybe 6 days ago, but 6 or 7 days ago, and you have an open invitation. I woke up this morning, I had a text message from Rosty. He says, I'm good to go tonight. He's on instantly. And that's what I've told him. So as often as you can, because you're hearing the truth here. And you're hearing it directly from Ukraine. This is not somebody sitting in a Washington, D.C. television studio who's reading something that's 30 hours old. This is live right now. What time is it over there? Should be
5 a.m.
5 a.m. 4:56 a.m. So just to speak to that on the last couple of things, and we're going to bless you. And are you going back to bed or starting your day?
No, I will start my day. Yeah.
Okay. Silent mode potentially tomorrow. We'll see what happens to allow passage.
Yes, please pray for that. Yeah.
9 a.m. Kyiv time, which is in about 4 hours. We'll see what happens, and we will be watching it. Dmitry Kuleba, the foreign minister,
Yep.
declared today that it's just ridiculous. The UN did come out and say to their employees, "You're not allowed to call it a war." So once again, let's just use the word tonight, Rostik. It's okay. They're cowards. Okay, number 5 here. Back to what you were speaking about. Poland stepping up unbelievably. They said, we'll send our MiG-29s straight to the German base. You guys get them to Ukraine today. And the U.S., we're the ones failing in the process. As I've told you guys before, Poland wants to give them away right now. Why do they need MiG-29s? Because the Ukrainian pilots are trained in these fighter jets. It will take time to cross-train them into other technic from countries like F-16s or whatever. So MiG-29. So Poland's saying, listen, just give us some F-16s and we'll get the MiG-29s in there. And the United States came out just before I went on the air and says, this is not even real that you can move that quick. The United States and those in the government do not understand Ukrainian mindsets, culture. They do not understand Polish mindsets and culture. Why? Because I think in our generations, we've never been in a war zone. Let's just be honest, on our soil. So there's not the pushing pressure to get things done quickly. And Ukraine and Poland, they're ready to roll, man. So we'll see what happens, but I don't know.
I saw the number of sanctions applied against Russia, and it's the highest in the world after Iran. Iran and North Korea going behind it. So, but the biggest number, 500 something, was applied by Switzerland. Yes, correct. So, and US only fifths. Man,
hey, okay,
Biden,
listen, folks.
suck, it's
we on the same page, buddy.
You can be better. You can do better.
We didn't pre-discuss this one. We did not pre-discuss this one, folks. We did not pre-discuss this one. I had the graphic ready to go. The number one nation, exerting financial pressure on Russia is Switzerland. They're neutral. They were. Okay. And then European Union, Canada, God bless Canada, Australia, US at 243. Unbelievable.
Yeah, so
unbelievable. Well, I had the graphic ready.
Way to improve. Yep.
Yes, we're going to improve on that. I'll let you pronounce that company name.
Ukроборонпром. Yep.
And they're a military equipment company, and I think they're in Lvov.
It's a defense system of the Ukraine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just Enterprise. So you understand, and just give us a couple more minutes here, and we'll finish this. It's really great having Rostik on here with me tonight. Just so you understand Ukrainian mindset and culture. And somebody asked earlier, how do you know refugees and how to get to the right places? I try to explain each night how Ukrainians work together and use like social nets and communication devices to communicate with each other. And there's a trust factor there that is not anywhere in the United States where these people work together. But this organization is they came out today and says, okay, if you can capture a foreign jet, we'll give you $1 million. And if you can capture a foreign helicopter, we'll give you $500,000. They're looking for technical equipment. We've got to do our part.
Yep.
We've got to do our part.
Yes.
This is real stuff. Zhytomyr, the oblast, halfway kind of between Kyiv and Khmelnytsky, they had a major wool factory destroyed. 70% of Ukrainian wool manufacturing capabilities in that factory. And a new number. Dobre utro, Sveta. And a new number of foreign servicemen now in Ukraine serving. 40,000 foreigners have came to help. In fact, today Canada allowed a platoon of 500 Canadians to serve together. And, you know, it's just making statements. Dai chai, пожалуйста. I'll take some tea. 61 hospitals destroyed. Airbnb sending $1.9 million to Ukraine through reservations. Americans are donating, personal, you know, Americans donating body armor and ammunition. The guy on the left there is the foreign defense minister of Georgia, not the state, the nation, who is now in Ukraine volunteering to fight. So, Rostik, these all facts? It's truth, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
Hospitals being demolished.
Yeah, that's schools, you know, hospitals, and just civilian houses, living blocks where people live. It's just enormous.
Comment came in from Camper Bill. He said, I thought the sanctions were to hurt Russia, but the prices are going crazy up here in the U.S. Tomorrow night, Camper Bill, I've got a document ready to go, released by the director of the Ukrainian Institute of the Future. His name is Vadim Denisenko, and he's brilliant. He wrote a thesis today and released it about the power of sanctions and what it's going to do to the global economy. I will be reading that tomorrow night. Tonight's all about Rostik. We've got him live, but tomorrow night we're going to talk about the sanctions and what you think they're supposed to do, they may not do, because there's other plays here. Last couple of things, Rostik, will get you about your day. After the speech today from Zelensky to the House of Commons, the United Kingdom did release a new law, or whatever they're calling it. It's a criminal offense for any Russian plane to enter UK airspace, says the transport secretary. So, folks, I'm just going to tell you, things are massaging here in a unique way. You've got 40,000 foreign fighters in Ukraine. You've got a Canadian platoon there working together. You've got Poland being the #1 ally of Ukraine right now. There's no question about that. And now you've got Great Britain saying, hey, no planes in our airspace. Folks, this is brewing here. And very, very important time over this next week. We will see.
Did you show the picture? Did you show the map of countries who closed their sky for Ukrainian, for Russian airplanes?
They have nowhere to go, but around through Russia, through Turkey.
Goodbye. Yes. Go to China to.
Well, that's where they're going.
Yeah, go there. You know.
You know where they can go? They can go to Venezuela, because our president's going to Venezuela he's not going, but our representatives are going, so we can maybe buy oil from Venezuela. But, folks, Joe Biden, the man himself, going to Saudi Arabia to work on oil. Real good, Joe. Just go dig a hole in Texas and pump it down the Keystone. Let's go, baby. Clueless. You know, last night I lost my mind, And then I had a friend message me and goes, "Man, that was really good. Just thank you for telling the truth and still being a Christian." I said, "Yeah, I really wanted to flip to a different language and nobody understood me and just rip it because it's just unacceptable." Last couple of things, Roastic. We'll let you have coffee with your beautiful bride there. Um, let's see here. We covered that one. We talked about that. You read my mind on that. Finally, people been asking and been showing them. Last night I explained to them about the flag of Ukraine, the beautiful fields and the blue sky. And Rick Rodemoyer sent that picture, and he goes, "That's the Ukrainian flag right there, the beautiful fertile
Yeah.
earth and the blue sky."
Yes, exactly. We have
Yeah.
40% of world's black soil,
Yes.
and biggest export of grain. Yeah, so that's
It's
why we are so desirable by Russia.
well,
One of the reasons. Mhm.
Rustic. It's not only your black earth, and anytime I took somebody new to Ukraine, and if we flew in and we were able to drive in a car during the daylight hours, and it was harvest season or farming season, their first comment was always, "How black is that dirt? It's unbelievably rich and fertile." Secondly, you're correct, wheat. But it doesn't stop there. There are coal and the materials necessary for steel. I mean, it's such a blessed land, and it's vitally important. And that is why we must stand with our brothers and sisters there. So finally, folks, as always, continue to pray for Ukraine. I want to thank you guys so much for your support. Talk with Pastor Kent today. The giving is just unbelievable. And as we've shared with you, we're not going to stop. Even when
Yes.
Ukraine wins the war, we're just getting started then. The support, we're just getting started. And we're not going anywhere. So we will continue to pray for Ukraine. Each night, I will be here at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock California time, telling the truth. I'm getting it all sent to me from Ukrainians. I'm not clipping stuff from Fox News for sure or CNN. This is all straight from Europe and Ukraine. And then we have guests, and we're just here to tell the truth. And not only about the guest to tell the truth, but most importantly, Rostick, and I'll flip it back here for us. But most importantly, we want you to know that you are loved, your family's loved, the work that God's called you to is loved, the church is loved, the nation of Ukraine is loved. And it's not just words, but we're putting efforts to our words. Each night, sharing or giving of offerings, sending finances, and people in the chat just always loving, loving, loving. I just don't pop them all up. It'll be distracting when we're talking. But we love you, man, and we're here for you to do
Yeah.
anything we can.
Thank you. We really appreciate, we really appreciate and we really feel prayers, and people are reaching out from all the corners of the earth. Actually, from I got messages from Australia, from Brazil, from Argentina, but a lot of from South Africa, but a lot of from US, because we have many friends there, and it means a lot to us because that we are not standing alone. Because we are hitting a humanitarian crisis, people leaving Ukraine. We have 2 million people left Ukraine already, and also, those cities. And we want to start a humanitarian project, and the tons and tons and tons of humanitarian aid coming into the country nowadays. And our government made it really easy to come in. Paper-wise. So. That's what I have on my heart, a couple of last days, to start humanitarian project, to bring in cargoes and form, split them and send them to different regions. And we are buying van van to evacuate people to the border or from the war zones, and to bring humanitarian aid to those who are left there. Yeah, so your support is really important, and yeah, it plays a big role.
You've got it, my friend, and we love you. And we stojí s vámi. Do konca i do pobedy. We're standing with you until the end and until victory. Love you, friend.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. Same
you know,
here.
the invitation's open. You just message me on the days that are good for you.
Yes. Yeah. We'll see. Maybe in a week, or so.
Sounds
it's
good.
Span. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. We love you, my friend.
Yep.
If you need anything, you holler. We'll continue to pray and support you. Folks, thank you for being here tonight. It's a wonderful time with Rostik. And here you go. Let's see here. Awesome to see you both and hear live update on Dawn of Life Church, and this time praying for you and Ukraine. Vilya. Awesome. Thank you, Vilya. Prayers for Ukraine. God bless. And yeah, now it'll blow up, but we'll leave it on that one. Prayers for Ukraine. God bless. We love you, my friend. May the Lord bless you and keep you guys, cause his face to shine upon you, be gracious to you, and may you walk in peace. May Ukraine walk in peace and the power of the Holy Spirit, and we will do all we can. We love you. And I've got it memorized now. We will see you in 23 hours. God bless you and good night. Rostik, hang out in here 1 second for me. Oh, you got one more love coming to you. Love you, Rostyslav Kudin. There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
God
Good
bless
night,
you
everybody.
guys. Thank you. Thank you.
See you in
God
23
bless you. Bye-bye.
hours.